The road to Karsura village stretched endlessly through fog and silence, like a forgotten scar across the hills. Arjun gripped the steering wheel tighter, his headlights cutting through the mist in frail arcs of white. The windshield wipers squeaked rhythmically, the only sound breaking the still night. He pressed record on his small vlogging camera, the red light flickering to life. "What's up, everyone? Arjun here, and tonight, we're exploring one of the most haunted places in northern India, the Karsura Mansion. Locals say nobody stays inside after midnight. Let's see if the stories are true." His voice tried to sound cheerful, but there was a quiver beneath it that his audience, thousands of miles away, would never catch. He smiled at the lens, but the reflection in his side mirror seemed less confident. By the time Arjun reached Karsura, night had settled thick and heavy. The village lay quiet, its mud houses draped in shadow, their doors half open as though someone had left in a hurry. Waiting by the dirt path was his local guide, a lean young man named Rafik, wearing a grey shawl and a strange stillness in his eyes. "The mansion isn't far," Rafik said softly. "But once we're inside, no loud talking. The walls remember voices." Arjun laughed lightly. "Echoes, huh?" But Rafik didn't laugh. He only turned and began walking toward the hill that loomed behind the village. The Karsura mansion revealed itself through the fog like a monster rising from a dream, tall, decayed, wrapped in black vines. Its stone walls were bruised with age, windows hollow like eyes that had seen too much. The front door creaked open at Rafik's touch with a slow, aching sound that made Arjun's heart pound. Inside, his flashlight revealed cobwebs that hung like curtains, paintings of stiff-faced ancestors staring at him as if judging his intrusion. Something wet dripped on his hand. He looked up, a leak from the ceiling, maybe. But the droplet was dark and sticky, not water. He told himself it was rust and wiped it off, forcing a grin to the camera. Rafik walked silently behind him, his expression unreadable. In the long hallway, Arjun narrated to the lens. This mansion belonged to the Karsura family, rich merchants during the colonial era. They all disappeared one night. No one ever found the bodies. His flashlight passed over an enormous mirror at the end of the hall, blackened with grime yet strangely reflective. For a heartbeat, he thought he saw a woman standing behind him, pale, thin, wearing a red sari. But when he turned, there was only Rafik adjusting his bag. "You saw that too, right?" Arjun asked nervously. The guide blinked, confused. "Saw what?" "Nothing," Arjun muttered. "Just shadows." When he looked back, the mirror was spotless. In the dining hall, the air smelled rotten, thick with dust and time. A long table stretched into darkness, covered with rusted plates and empty wine glasses. As Arjun filmed, he heard a faint tapping sound, tick-tick-tick, like nails striking wood. He turned his light toward the noise, but found nothing. Rafik stood frozen, eyes fixed on the head of the table. His lips moved as if whispering someone's name. "Ishani, who?" Arjun asked. Rafik blinked again, seeming to wake from a trance. "No one," he murmured. "Let's move." Later, when Arjun reviewed the footage, he would notice something chilling. At the moment Rafik whispered Ishani, a soft, girlish giggle echoed near the microphone, though no one else was there. Near midnight, they set up equipment in what must have been the master bedroom. "It's officially 12 a.m., Arjun told the camera. "Locals say the mansion wakes up after this hour. Let's find out." The EMF detector placed on the bed blinked from green to yellow, then suddenly red. The air turned bitterly cold. Rafik sat near the door, whispering a prayer. But his voice, deep, old, didn't sound like his own. "Rafik?" Arjun whispered. There was no reply. Then Rafik lifted his head, eyes unfocused, and said in a hollow tone, "You brought the light here. It doesn't like the light." Before Arjun could react, every piece of equipment died, camera, flashlight, everything. He was swallowed by blackness. In that dark, a whisper brushed against his ear. "Turn it off, turn it off," he fumbled desperately for the light. When it flickered back on, Rafik was gone. Panic set in. Arjun stumbled through the corridor, calling for Rafik, his voice shaking. "Where are you?" It echoed strangely, repeating itself, first normally, then distorted, then wrong. "Where are you?" A final whisper responded, not his own, "You are here." He froze. Footsteps began approaching from behind him, slow and deliberate. He turned sharply, light sweeping across the portraits lining the walls. But the faces in the paintings had changed. Every set of eyes was now staring directly at him. His camera, hanging from his chest, turned on by itself, recording static and a faint female voice whispering, "Do you still think it's just a story?" He burst into the study, gasping for breath. The room smelled of old paper and mildew. On a desk lay an open diary. Each page contained only one phrase written again and again, "Bring the storyteller." Bewildered, he flipped another page, and watched in horror as fresh drops of moisture formed on the paper, shaping new words. "You brought yourself." He stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. A soft buzz filled the air, the sound of radio static. His camera crackled to life again, though he hadn't touched it. On the small flickering screen, Rafiq's face appeared, pale and distorted, whispering something too faint to hear. Arjun turned the volume higher, and realized the voice responding to him was his own. But he hadn't spoken yet. Confusion curdled into terror. "This isn't real," he whispered. He lifted the camera and looked through the viewfinder. What he saw made his blood run cold. He was looking at himself, earlier, entering the mansion. Behind that version of himself stood the same woman in the red sari, smiling faintly at the lens. He turned the flashlight to the corner. The space was empty. But when he looked back to the screen, the woman's face was closer now, right behind his own shoulder, and when she smiled, the footage glitched, showing another clip, Rafiq kneeling in the dining hall while shadowy hands reached out from under the table. The feed cut, leaving only the soft whine of static. The grandfather clock struck one, echoing through the halls like a slow heartbeat. Somewhere upstairs, a lullaby began to play, a woman's voice, mournful and sweet. Drawn by a mix of fear and fascination, Arjun climbed the staircase. At the top, he saw Rafiq standing before the mirror from earlier. His back was turned, motionless. "Rafiq!" Arjun shouted. No response. As Arjun stepped closer, he realized that Rafiq wasn't facing the mirror, but his reflection was. And that reflection was looking directly at Arjun. It smiled faintly and said, "She wants your story now. She's been waiting." Arjun's knees trembled. "Who are you?" he whispered. The reflection tilted its head. "You wanted proof of ghosts," it said. "You create them every time you tell their story." Then the mirror cracked sharply, the sound slicing through the silence. Rafiq's body crumpled to the floor. Arjun fled down the hallway. Every turn led him back to the same place, the same hall, the same mirror, unbroken once again. The mansion seemed to twist around him, swallowing his paths. Breathing heavily, he raised the camera to his face. "My name is Arjun Malhotra," he said, voice shaking. "If anyone finds this footage, I came here to explore the Karsura Mansion. But this place, it doesn't haunt people. It records them." Static drowned his voice. From somewhere behind, his own laughter echoed, then screams, then whispers overlapping into chaos. Slowly, another voice joined them, gentle and near his ear, "Start the story again." When morning came, the village returned to its dull stillness. Passers-by noticed a lone car outside the mansion, its driver's seat empty. A policeman arrived around noon and found the door ajar. Inside, dust floated undisturbed. The only thing out of place was Arjun's camera resting on the study desk, its battery long dead, and yet the red recording light still blinking. Later, when the footage was reviewed, it ended at exactly 2:37 a.m. The last frame showed the front door closing on its own, and in the reflection of the nearby mirror, a faint figure behind the camera. It wasn't Arjun. Weeks later, a video appeared on Arjun's YouTube channel, titled The Real Karsura Mansion Story, Unedited Footage. The thumbnail showed a shadowy figure in a red sari. 15 minutes into the video, the camera panned to a mirror. The reflection was no longer Arjun, but a pale man dressed like Rafiq. He smiled and whispered, "Thank you for watching. Tell another story, and let her in." Viewers flooded the comments saying they heard a woman whisper their names halfway through. Some swore their reflections blinked when they hadn't. The channel never uploaded again. But sometimes, new viewers claim the footage changes each time they watch it, showing new scenes, new faces. Faces that look eerily familiar. Faces that look like their own.